Psalm 143 is the sixth of 8 psalms in the Davidic group that concludes the Psalter. It is a lament. It is a cry of distress. It's also one of the 7 penitential psalms, the last of these penitential psalms. You see them all listed there. A penitential psalm being a psalm that is a prayer of confession, of a need for forgiveness and repentance. So there is a bit of that at the beginning of this psalm, and for that reason, and because of its use by Paul in Romans 3 as a verse that indicates the sinfulness of humanity, these are also called Pauline psalms for that reason. They speak to the sinful human nature and the need for justification and forgiveness by God. So the last of the 7 penitential psalms. So you can see how it fits in the Davidic group here, a prayer for rescue, corresponding perhaps to Psalm 140 in our frame there. The psalm begins with a request. Hear my prayer, give ear to my pleas, and your faithfulness answer me. Enter not into judgment with your servant. So there's your prayer of penitence. Do not judge me. Forgive me, for no one living is righteous before you. So here's that Pauline element that Paul quotes this, as well as Psalms 14, 50, and Psalms 53 have the same language, that there's no one righteous before you. For the enemy has pursued my soul. He's crushed my life to the ground. He's made me sit in darkness like those long dead. Therefore my spirit faints, my heart within me is appalled. So here's the heart of his complaint. It seems quite literal. It seems that David has got someone who is pursuing him. Perhaps this is Absalom. Perhaps it is Saul. Those are the 2 major opponents that David faced in his life. But these can certainly also be spiritual enemies as well. And certainly for us today, we can feel some of these same things as the enemy pursuing our soul, crushing us, causing us to sit in darkness. So this is language that I think we can all relate to even today. David is thoroughly exhausted here. His heart is undone. So verse 5 and 6 give us a bit of hope as David says, I remember the days of old. I meditate on what you've done. I ponder the work of your hands. So I'm looking back and gaining strength from recalling your faithfulness in times past. And I'm stretching out my hands to you. My soul thirsts for you like parched land. Another common metaphor in the Psalms of thirsting. Echoes too of Psalm 141, where David lifted up his hands as the evening sacrifices. So David stretches out his hands as posture of prayer. Answer me quickly, for my spirit fades. Hide not your face from me, or I'll be like those who go down to the pit. So this is an example of motivation. Lord, here's why you should answer me, because if you don't, I'm going to die. That's the pit is the reference to death. So he is in distress, desperate for rescue. He says in verse 8, let me hear in the morning of your steadfast love. This suggests that this might be an evening prayer, that David is going to sleep at night, and he is hoping to wake up with some good news. So I use this verse, I think of this verse often. In fact, when I go to sleep at night, I will pray this verse. Let the morning bring me word of your steadfast love. That's how I memorized it. For in you I trust. So it's a great bedtime prayer, Psalm 143, verse 8. And then what follows is a series of requests. First, a request for wisdom. Make me know the way I should go. Certainly in these situations, we need wisdom. The way forward may not be very clear, and so we trust in God to lead us. So David lifts his soul to Yahweh. He prays for safety. Deliver me from my enemies. Of course, David's enemies were quite literally trying to kill him. So we might pray the same thing. We might pray prayers of protection and safety. Teach me to do your will is a prayer for obedience. Lord, help me to do what you have revealed to me. If you show me the way to go, then give me the strength to do it. And then another prayer for wisdom, let your good spirit lead me on level ground. Level ground is that metaphor for the right path, the good path, the way that God has designed, a way that is not going to result in you falling and hurting yourself, but the good path, the level ground. For your name's sake, O Lord, preserve my life, bring my soul out of trouble in your righteousness. Let your steadfast love, you'll cut off my enemies. You'll destroy the adversary of my soul. So this is a request for judgment, rather for justice to come upon his enemies, that they would be judged. And David concludes this prayer with a statement of trust, for I am your servant. I am your servant. My life is in your hands. I belong to you. I do not command you. You command me, and I submit to your authority and to your wisdom and ask for your help in this time of distress.